Hi, Peter Christian. Nick Christensen joining us over there. He's our show producer and co-host, and joining us on the phone right now for the very first time, we have Don Kay, who is the chairman of the Montana GOP. Don, welcome to our show. It's good to have you.
Good to be here, Peter. Thank you very much for having me on.
You bet. So, okay, here we are. It's right smack dab in the political season. We've got all sorts of races going on: Republicans, Democrats, Green Party, Whigs. You name it.
Yeah.
So as the chairman of the GOP, what kind of things are you working on?
Well, I'll tell you, since I was elected as chairman, I've been working on unity. Because as you know, Peter, we have a big tent party. I mean, we have a moderate wing all the way to a libertarian wing in our party, and I love that because we're the party of ideas. And so we've been energized. We've really gotten this thing energized. The last time we had our winter kickoff, it was the best kickoff ever, in my opinion. And we evidenced by the fact that we have nearly 200 Republicans that are filed for office. And we have at least one Republican in 116 of the 125 legislative races. Obviously, we're packed with great candidates all the way down the ticket. When you look at our counterparts, the Democrat Party, their candidates are running in less than 90 of the 125 legislative races. So we're really excited, and we have folks that are running in traditional Democrat areas. We have basically in Missoula County, we have the slate completely filled. Same thing with Silverbow County, Gallatin County, etc., where we have a really good, as you can see, with 116 of 125. That's never been done before, to my knowledge. So, we're working on our message, of course, that a vote for GOP candidates is a vote for freedom, is a vote for liberty, and opportunity and prosperity for all. And I think that's a platform that Montanans can rally behind.
Okay, now, Don, one quick question. We got a problem right now in the fact that we just received word that the June primary is going to be a mail-in election. Right now, it's impossible for candidates, Republicans, Democrats, whatever, to meet with people to basically press the flesh as politicians love to do and that they need to do, to get out on the stump and talk to people. So how are you, as the chairman of the GOP party, what are you communicating to your candidates to get their message out?
Yeah, so as you know, we're in the beauty is, and you're 100% right, Peter, and thank you for bringing that up. In the 21st century, we need to do things differently, and this is just another way. This is kind of really neat in a lot of ways. You can look at the positive. It's true that the traditional knocking on doors, I really believe in that and what have you, but that wouldn't stop our candidates from putting, mailers together or putting, signs on doors or whatever the case may be. And then digitally on Facebook and Twitter and all these different things that we need to do. We've got candidates that are putting out, YouTube videos and those kinds of things. So Republicans are innovative, and we're getting that thing going. And I really want to encourage, you mentioned the fact that we're going to have a mail-in June primary, which I think but there's going to also be opportunities for people to, every county made their own decision. There's going to be opportunities to go to the election office and throw your ballot in there. You don't have to put it through the mail. So I think that this is going to be fine. And I really want to encourage everybody to vote. This is your opportunity to pick the candidates going forward. And we've got so many great candidates on the Republican tickets for the primary that we need to get educated about them. We've got a lot more qualified candidates than the Democrats do, so Republican voters have great choices.
Go now. Here's a potential problem, and I've been talking with some friends of mine about this. And that is, there is a real possibility here that when all the dust clears and November rolls around, we could have an all-Democrat congressional delegation. And I'm wondering, because Steve Bullock is thrown his hat in the ring now, or should I say has been reluctantly dragged into the race.
Peter.
Sorry. Don't get me started on that one. All right. But anyway, it was convinced by the powers that be that it's the best thing for Montana for him to run. Anyway, so and now he's even Steven with Steve Daines as far as the polling goes. And we've got Gianforte giving up his seat to run for the governor, right? Which opens it up for a possible Kathleen Williams, being the congressperson, and we've already got John Tester in there as a Democrat. So as the chairman of the Republican Party, what are you doing to try to make sure that doesn't happen?
Well, it's not going to happen, Peter. Let me tell you why. First off, we weren't surprised about Bullock entering the race. We always prepared for that. We knew that was going to happen. We felt very strongly that it would happen. But really, as you mentioned, him entering the race isn't about Montana. This is about meetings with Chuck Schumer and President Obama. This is about the Democrats trying to take control of the Senate and obstruct President Trump. That's basically what this is about. This race is extremely important for the future of our country. We need to hold on to the majority in the Senate. And the key of the Senate, the key is reelecting Senator Daines. When you really look at candidate Bullock, Governor Bullock, he's really not in lockstep with the majority of Montanans. Now, he covered that really well when he ran for governor, but what he did when he ran for president, he really showed his true colors, which is, number one, the majority of Montanans were not for the impeachment or removal of President Trump. He was. The majority of Montanans are not for supporting bans on semi-automatic weapons. Can I say that again? Bans on semi-automatic weapons. I mean, that's ludicrous. And for a state like Montana, he was pro-NRA, he was pro-gun when he ran for governor, but he let that slip out. So he showed his real colors. He's not a true Montanan. Is not for a ban on semi-automatic weapons. He also does things that Montanans don't support, too. He also supports things that Montanans don't support, which is sanctuary cities, the Iran deal, and a carbon tax. On the other hand, Senator Daines has a clear record of defending Montanans and their way of life and delivering common-sense solutions for Montanans. Let's remember that, as you kind of mentioned, that Governor Bullock made countless statements, not one, countless statements, that being a U.S. Senator wouldn't be compelling or exciting. He doesn't even want the job. When you don't want the job, because that's deep down, he's not going to win this election.
Joining us on the phone right now is Don Kay, who is the Montana GOP chairman. And we have other folks who are on the line to visit with you, Don. So let's get Emmett up first. Emmett, good morning. You're on with Don Kay. Go ahead.
Oh, thanks for taking my call. Well, Don, I'm an independent voter. I'm not Republican nor Democrat. But everyone who has called and talked back knows that I used to be the hugest fan of Donald Trump. I mean, just huge, wild fan of Donald Trump. But he's really, I feel, done some policy reversals on some things that he promised to do that I feel betrayed by Donald Trump. He's gone really soft on our gun rights. He said that he might work with Democrats about, red flag laws where the police can take away guns if they feel you're a threat to society. He betrayed the Kurds. In that war with Syria, he betrayed the Christian Kurds and basically sided with Erdogan. I think that was the name of the dictator. He withdrew from that region of Syria and didn't protect the Kurds. With this whole coronavirus thing, he is allowing our economy to be wrecked. I know about the stimulus.
Emmett, we're very short of time. What is your question for Don?
So why should I, or the other people who supported Donald Trump, why should I vote for him again this year when I feel so disappointed in Donald Trump? I never thought I would, but if you could answer those questions.
Okay. Well, thank you for calling. Go ahead, Don.
Emmett, I appreciate your question, and I understand. I'm a fervent supporter of the president. I believe that he's doing a great job. I understand that he's made some mistakes I understand your points. I really do. But at the end of the day, would you rather have Donald Trump as your president, as flawed as he's a man? He's not. He's like every one of us. He's got flaws. But overall, the man gets up in the morning trying to do what's best for the United States of America every day. And that's what excites me about Donald Trump. Is he going to make some mistakes? Absolutely. Are people going to disagree with him on some policies? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, you're never going to get a perfect person anywhere. So what's your choice? You're going to vote for Joe Biden? Joe Biden is got dementia. I mean, he can't even put two sentences together without making a mistake. Who do you want your country to have be in charge of the country? Donald Trump or Joe Biden? I think at the end of the day, that's going to be your choice. Right. And I think I know I'll be pushing the button for Donald Trump.
Okay, let's get Al on the line. Al, thanks for holding. You're on with Don Kay. Go ahead, sir.
On page 5 of today's Missoulian, they're talking about voting, and one short paragraph says, however, Bullock's directive requires counties that choose the mail option to allow in-person early voting. Please explain to me what in-person early voting is.
That's a good question. All right, thanks, Al. So what do you think, Don? What does that mean anyway?
Well, I think it means we're all going to get our ballots, early,
right,
before Election Day, right? Because we have to mail them in, and most of us are mail-in people anyway. So what I do personally, and I think what they're saying is that you can go down to the election office. So I don't trust the U.S. mail personally. I want to make sure mine gets in. That's how fervent of a voter I am. And I'll go down to the Flathead County, in my case, election office, and I'll drop my ballot in the slot. That's what it means.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's easy enough. All right. So this is Josh. Josh, good morning. You're on Talk Back with Don Kay. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, Don. Good morning. Hey, question with these mail-in ballots. What is your constituents doing to try to suppress the fraud that's bound to be happening with this coronavirus screwing up the in-person election voting? That's my question. Thanks.
All right. Thanks for the call.
There was as far as I understand, I hope I'm understanding this correctly. So if somebody knows something different, correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe there is a law passed that only allows somebody to pick up like 2 or 3 ballots, and it's got to be in your immediate family, or there has to be a certain reason for it. So I think that is a very, very good point, and I think we're going to be, we're going to be watching that. We've got poll watchers. We'll be sitting down for example, at all the counties around the state. We'll have poll watchers watching people put in. So if they come in there with 10 ballots, we're going to make sure that the people know about that, and that we get that squared away.
That's why we have.
We're going to be watching.
That's why we have election judges in the first place, right?
Exactly.
Is to make sure that people don't do that. I mean, yeah.
Well, and now knowing that we're going to have a completely mail-in election offices are going to know what to expect, hopefully. I mean, we know how many we're ideally going to get, and you can just prepare for that maximum, and hopefully it'll even maybe make things easier for them. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, what we may have, and Don, you can tell me if you agree or not, we may have the greatest voter turnout in recent history.
Could be.
With this, because as you mentioned, mail-in elections becoming much more popular, and not only that, but it is tremendously expensive for counties to put polling places together every 2 years or 4 years.
It is, and we're doing more and more mail-in and what have you. I still like the old-fashioned way personally, but I realize I just want to make sure we have a fair voting, and that's really what the party's about. We just want to make sure it's fair.
Okay, now let's talk about the gubernatorial race, because as you had mentioned, we not only have 1 or 2, but we have 3 really good Republicans who are running. We have Attorney General Tim Fox, current Congressman Greg Gianforte, and Dr. Aloshevsky, the physician from the Flathead Valley. So a few words about those gentlemen.
Yeah, so that's a great question. Thank you, Peter. The governor's race is huge. As you know, Montana has had a Democrat governor for the last 16 years. And Montanans are really ready to turn the governor's mansion red. And when you really look at our candidates, comparison to the competition, there really is no. You've got Congressman Greg Gianforte, an accomplished business person, an accomplished congressman, has made his chops, knows the process, knows how it works, and is a great executive. You've got Attorney General Tim Fox, one of the best attorney generals we've ever had in the state of Montana, arguably. There's been he's second to none. He's done a great job with law enforcement. He's been a great leader and has protected our Montana's rights. I could go on and on. You got Dr. Alex Oshevsky, who's been a great senator from the Flathead here. That is a great conservative and just a great leader. And he would be a great governor as well. So we'll have all hands on deck supporting Republican candidates that Montana's come to choose, whoever we choose for our candidate after June 2nd. Between this election and the Senate race, all eyes are going to be on Montana in 2020, and we're ready to go. The national organization, the RGA, Republican Governors Association, has deemed Montana as the number one pickup race in the nation. So we're going to have a lot of action here.
We've got Kevin on the line waiting to talk with you. So, Kevin, you're on with Don Kay. Go ahead.
Hey, Peter. Hey, I thought I'd touch base with you, follow up on that subject last week of the statistics of people who have recovered from the virus. Everything, I didn't hear anything so far, so.
Well, I have submitted my request to the Department of Health and Human Services, and they are considering it.
All considering it. Okay.
Yep.
Just thought I'd ask.
Yeah, thanks. I haven't forgotten about you.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
We want to hear those numbers too.
Okay, now Don, interestingly, here recently, Jesse Ramos was able to gather some candidates together and put a couple of fiscal conservatives on the Missoula City Council. Your thoughts about that?
Well, yeah, that was a great thing. We were very pleased to see that. And see, it's very interesting you'd ask me that question because Missoula County is extremely important to the Republican Party in this 2020 election. It is it's basically the epicenter of how we're going to do in Montana. Now, we don't expect to win Missoula County. But our goal is to get 40 to 45% of the vote in Missoula County, where we've been getting like 30 to 35%. And I think the votes are there. Now, let me address what you're talking about. Jesse Ramos is a fiscal conservative. John Contos, Sandy Vlasic, all those people that were elected there. And I actually went down and knocked doors for Sandy down in Missoula because I wanted to see what the people in Missoula were talking about, what their big deal was. And I was in this small area, this area in Missoula where I could knock doors, and they were in condos, and I could go one to the next. And one of the gentlemen there, and I hope I'm getting this right, told me that his taxes on his house were $800 the previous year, and that this year it was $1,600 for his property tax.
That's absolutely
true.
These
are not big homes.
Right.
And, he was just livid about that. And, of course, he voted for, I believe, Sandy at that kind of deal, as we talked about where her place was. And I think that is really the message for Missoula County, is if you want fiscal conservatism, we're your party. We can deliver on fiscal conservatism. And, whether we're talking about at the top of the ticket all the way to the bottom of the ticket, we can deliver for you. So vote Republican, Missoula. Will help you, and you've made strides already in typical Democrat areas in the city of Missoula where you have 3 fiscal conservatives on your city council right now.
Okay.
I think we can agree that your city council has gone way too far to the left on spending.
All right, let's get Eric on the line. Eric, you're on with Don Kay. What's your question, sir?
Yes, you sound like a very zealous salesman, but I no longer consent to this government, and that's why I don't vote for either Democrats or Republicans. I used to be a Republican, but Republicans not only maintain the status quo, but they trample the Constitution, and you can see Trump's drone strikes killing innocent civilians to the tune of what Barack Obama could never imagine, and then all of the Republican state representatives support this guy. You don't roll back the tyranny that's been established. You just maintain the status quo. Can you respond to that?
All right. So thanks for the call, Eric. So go ahead, Don.
Eric, thank you very much for the call, and I hope that we can get you back voting, at least voting, but hopefully voting for the GOP. So, really, when you look at it, Eric, we have, as I said at the beginning of my remarks, we are a big tent party. We have everywhere from moderate people to very, very, very conservative, the libertarian wing, very conservative within our party. So within our party, we have the answers that you're looking for. We basically, we're going to have some people you will disagree with in our party and some people that you're going to agree with. So I would just urge you to research the candidates, because not voting is really not an answer. Basically, we have sometimes, I don't know about you, but I've never found a candidate that is perfect, aligned with my views. But I've got to vote for the one that's the closest for me. And I agree with you in this, Eric, that we need to roll back tyranny, that we are the party of freedom and liberty and opportunity and prosperity for all. Have we made some mistakes? Absolutely. But the choices are Republican, Democrat. These are the two that are going to win. Which one best suits or best identifies with what your values are?
All right, we have exactly 1 minute, Don. So if you will, get on the stump and stump for Republicans, if you would.
Well, first off, I do want to take a moment to express my condolences to Montanans who have lost their loved ones during this pandemic. We haven't talked about that, but although the numbers don't make the national headlines like they do in larger states, one loss is a loss too many, and my prayers and everything are out to everybody who's grieving. And April 10th, my faith is doing a worldwide fast, and I'd like to ask everybody to join in that fast to be able to get rid of this COVID-19 pandemic and go that way. I just want to tell everybody that I love you and I really appreciate everything you're doing. And consider us when November comes around. Vote in June for the primaries, and let's turn this state red. That's what our goals are.
Thanks, Don. It's a pleasure talking with you, sir. Appreciate it.